Alright guys, welcome to McNack's Kitchen. This is our very first video. Denise and I, neither one of us really wants to do this, but we've had lots of demand for really on how to break down a whole chicken. So I've got this beautiful, perfectly cooked bird from Costco, best deal in town, $5 for this huge chicken. And it's super, super tender, so sometimes when you're cutting it up, it's not going to be in 8 perfectly symmetrical pieces, but we'll do the best we can today, and I hope I will enlighten you a little bit on how to get it done. So the first thing we want to do with the chicken is start by removing the legs and thighs together. And to do that, we're just going to pull this chicken leg back a little bit and just gently cut through the skin until we can kind of get down and see into the thigh area. Once we cut down a little bit into here and kind of start pulling back with our knife, we should get a pretty good view of the entire leg-thigh combination here. So what I'm going to do is, there's some skin here I'm going to cut. We're just trying to separate this from the rest of the bird. And when we get to that point, we can kind of pull back on the whole chicken thigh and the leg. And don't know if you heard that little pop, but that was literally the thigh bone popping away from here. So what we're going to do at that point is just cut right along that line. And we're going to turn the bird over, and we want to try to get that little piece of meat that Denise calls the oyster off the back of this chicken. And we're just going to pull it down just like this. And now we've got a thigh and leg quartered off together. Okay? We're going to do the same thing on the other side here. Flip this pretty bird back over. And we're going to cut this skin right here. And we're going to pull it back. Pick that bird up again. And listen for the pop, and then I can take my knife and cut right through that same spot. Alright, so now we've got these two beautiful leg-thigh quarters right here. In a chicken that hasn't been cooked, you would be able to see a little line that kind of goes about like this across the thigh and the leg. It's a little line of fat. It's hard to see once it's been cooked, but you still can visualize about right here, kind of how the leg kind of comes up into a bulb. We're going to kind of cut the skin right there. We're going to look for that joint, and then that's where the cartilage is, and we can cut straight through and cut that down into 2 separate pieces. Alright, so now we've got a thigh and a leg here. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Kind of cut back some of that skin so we can see. And then feel for that joint. And then cut straight down through it. Alright, come on. There we go. So now we've got leg 2 and thigh 2. Okay, so I took a second to clean this up a little bit. Got a little platter here with our legs and thighs. Now it's on to the wings. So I'm going to turn this bird around a little bit so you can see. And there's really only one way to get in here and figure out these wings. We're just going to kind of try to, now this one's cooked so it's tender enough where I could probably just pull it off. But we're going to reach in here and literally feel for that little wing joint. Let me clean my hand off a little. And we're going to cut with the knife straight through to that wing joint. Okay, so there's one. Do the same thing on this side. And I'm kind of pulling with my knife. I don't know if you can tell that on the video, but if I pull it back a little bit as I go, I can start seeing the joint, the cartilage getting exposed, and I can see better where I'm going to cut through. So again, now we've got these 2 beautiful wings ready for our guest. I'll move these over to our platter. Now, for the breast, the best part, the most beautiful part, we can't just cut right through here and expect anything good to happen because there's a breastbone back here, and if we try to cut from this side, we're going to get uneven breast. And who really wants uneven breast? Seriously. So what we're going to do here is flip that bird over again. And because this bird has been cooked already, it's so tender, I can pull this whole neck and back out. And so I'm going to do that on this one and just pull it off like that and just kind of trim to get it away and put it in my garbage pile here. Now I didn't get all of it. I got the vast majority of it, but I still got this part to go through right here. So I am going to grab my kitchen shears. Give me 1 second. Alright, so I've got my handy kitchen shears, and I can cut right through this bone right here and just take it away. And that's why a good set of kitchen shears is really just critical to have in a kitchen. It'd be so difficult to do that with a knife. You can, but it's just a pain, and you're more likely to cut yourself than anything else. There's a big chunk of fat too that I'm going to cut off as well. Alright, so now that I've got all the backbone removed, I still don't want to turn this over quite yet because I've still got this breastbone here. Alright, so to cut the breast in half, a really experienced chef would try to remove this breastbone. I am not that experienced chef. It's just not my thing. I haven't gone through 3 years of culinary school, but I do have a little bit of brute force and a good set of knives. So I generally, on a cooked one anyway, will just start making a little bit of an incision, and on a really steady board, I'll get my hand in here and just push it down and go straight through that breast bone and get all the way through to the other side. Alright, once I've done that, got that little bit of a wishbone right there that I've got to kind of pull out on one side. And now I've got these two breasts. I'm a skin remover kind of person. Skin's great, tastes great. I used to eat it all the time. Still do some of it, but it's really just not that good for you. If you like the breast, the skin, you can certainly keep that intact. But I'm a remover. All right, so here's breast 1. Here's breast 2. Let me take this skin off too. And now that I've done that, I've got these 2 great chicken breasts here. And depending on how I'm going to serve this, I would either give somebody the whole breast, but sometimes people want a little bit of everything. And especially on my turkey, the whole turkey that we roast at Thanksgiving, I actually have found that I remove the entire breast from the bone, and then everybody can have a slice. And if you leave the skin on, everybody can have a little bit of skin and a little bit of meat. And when you cut it the way I'm going to show you, everybody also gets a little bit of the tenderloin, which is clearly the best part of the chicken. So I'm going to kind of turn this on the side a little bit and just let my knife follow along this rib cage and bones, and then just kind of keep pulling it back until the bones are gone. And I have a chicken breast. And now that I've done that, this tenderloin is this piece of meat that you can see it already kind of separates from the rest of the chicken breast. That is truly the most tender piece of meat on the chicken, especially white meat. And then what I like to do, let me get rid of that little flap of fat there. What I like to do is turn it against the grain and then cut little breast medallions straight down through the chicken, and then everybody gets a little bit of white meat and everybody gets a little bit of that tenderloin, and nobody's fighting over who gets what. Okay. All right, and I would do the same thing for the second breast. Just remove it from the bone, turn it and cut against the grain, and leave it the same as that other breast right there. Alright guys, well that's how you do it. You break down a chicken into 8 separate individual pieces, ready for your guests, and I hope that gave you everything you needed. Appreciate it. Enjoy McNack's Kitchen.